There are an incredible number of coronavirus monitoring bracelets flooding into the market right here in the US. And the companies behind them say that they're here for just one purpose, in order to track you and who you've been in contact with. They say it's for public safety, but you want the truth? The truth is, those companies have already created these bracelets and they use them right now. They use them, they say, on currently incarcerated people and criminally convicted people. Everything you need to know right now. I'm Ben Swan, and this is Truth in Media. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. You know, I've been telling you for the last few weeks about the issue of contact tracing, how it is on its way. The HR 6666, the House bill that was originally designed to create a contact tracing program across the country, is maybe one of the most shocking examples of this, but it's certainly not the only one. In fact, there are tech firms right now that are working vigorously in order to get contracts to create contact tracing monitoring bracelets that would essentially be able to track you and everyone you come in contact with. In fact, in some cases, those bracelets would determine whether or not you're standing at a safe distance from other people. And if you're not, would actually start to beep to alert everyone around you that you are, in fact, a rule breaker. Well, meanwhile, we see not only it happening in the United States, but an incredible new move in Italy right now, where 60,000 people are going to be hired for the purpose of being civic volunteers, but their actual job will be to snitch on people who don't follow coronavirus social distancing rules, including things like wearing masks. More on that in a second. But first, let's talk about this bracelet monitoring issue, because there are a series of companies right now that are trying to get contracts, government contracts, and also contracts with large corporations in order to monitor employees, where they are, who they come in contact with, how long they're in contact, exactly what everyone's doing at all times. According to The Intercept, take Arista Flow, a Maryland-based outfit that helps corporations track their assets, breathing or not. In an April 21st press release, the company announced it would begin selling Bluetooth and Wi-Fi trackers to be worn on an employee's wrist like a Fitbit or around the neck like a cowbell. When people come within 6 feet of each other for a period of time, the company wrote in a press release, the device makes an audible chirp and a record of the contact is made in the Arista Flow software system. But the tracking goes far beyond audible chirps. Arista's platform allows employers to continuously upload a record of close encounters to a corporate cloud, providing an up-to-date list of presumed social distancing violators that would double as a detailed record of workplace social interactions. Of course, this is not the only company doing this. In fact, there are waves of companies doing the exact same thing, including an Israeli surveillance company known as Supercom. And Supercom actually already has the technology in existence. They didn't create it in response to the coronavirus. In fact, the company already has these monitoring bracelets in place. They use them, they say, on currently incarcerated people and criminally convicted people. The security company has customers in 20 countries, including the US, and claims decades of experience with what it calls, in a press release, secured boundaries projects like border crossings and home confinement. It's the house arrest expertise that the company is now marketing as Pure Care, described on the Supercom website as a state-of-the-art solution for quarantine and isolation monitoring to aid government efforts in containing and limiting the reach of infectious diseases. Are you kidding me? So a company that essentially right now specializes in putting monitoring bracelets on people who are incarcerated or people who are criminally convicted now says that it has a packaged product called Pure Care that is designed for quarantining people and keeping them socially isolated. We would know that term as house arrest. That's what they're talking about here. And this is a company that is essentially trying to get contracts from the government. So remember when I talked about HR 6666, I warned that the issue here is it's not about coronavirus and it is about being able to isolate people in their homes. Well, this company, Supercom, is trying to do exactly that. They're selling contracts to the government to say, we can monitor people, we can put them in their homes, we can keep them isolated, and we can monitor where they are, what they're doing, and who they come in contact with. Supercom America's president, Orton Trebelski declined to tell The Intercept where the company's ankle bracelets are currently being used for quarantine enforcement, but it named Central America as the location of one pilot deployment and referenced a second pilot program in some other unspecified region. And then you have another company called Redpoint, which says it specializes in being able to tag employees of a company and monitor their whereabouts. Quote, Redpoint offers companies the ability to tag their equipment and employees using ultra-wideband radio signals, a wireless positioning technology only recently added to the most advanced iPhones. Redpoint boasted in the announcement of its ability to use these tags to track the location of people and equipment with extremely high accuracy, even in complex industrial environments, now with a coronavirus-specific augmentation. If social distancing parameters such as 1 or 2 meter radius are violated between workers, the tag alarm will alert them to the hazard. The company will also collect a history of employee interactions. If an infection does occur, historical data from the systems will allow for highly accurate contact tracing, as records can show the individuals who were near the infected party. Look, the bottom line with all of these companies is they're all doing the same thing. They claim that they're trying to protect the public and they're going to make sure that people are adhering to safe social distancing rules, which, by the way, I just have to say is nonsense, right? This idea that social distancing of 6 feet, people apart from each other, prevents the spread of coronavirus has been absolutely proven to be untrue. Remember in New York, the latest numbers out of New York show that 66% of new infections in New York were not coming from people who were violating social distancing. 66% of new infections came from people who adhered to the rules and stayed in their homes. So how are those people getting sick? Well, it's actually pretty simple. They get sick because they still have food brought into their homes. They still go to the grocery stores. There's a new study out in Arkansas that shows the majority of people who are contracting coronavirus get it from food, from items at grocery stores and supermarkets. That's where the highest levels of contagion are, which makes sense. But you can't shut off food supplies to people. And so this idea that we're somehow going to be safer because we're 6 feet apart from each other is nonsense. It's not based in science. There is no scientific evidence whatsoever that shows that standing 6 feet from someone prevents you from getting the coronavirus. None whatsoever. The fact is, people who work in factories together are still interacting with each other and still handling many of the same doorknobs, door handles, still touching conveyor belts, still pressing buttons, still handling the same items and issues with each other, whether or not they're standing 6 feet apart or not. Lastly, I want to tell you about what's going on in Italy, because I believe this could absolutely come here and very soon. I think it's part of what that HR 6666 was all about. But over in Italy, there's this incredible story about civic volunteers who are being hired now to actually snitch on each other in order to prevent people from violating coronavirus rules. In fact, the Italian government says it's going to hire 60,000 civic volunteers to go around and to monitor people's actions. What are they doing? Are they wearing masks? Are they staying apart from each other? Are they breaking any of these so-called guidelines that have been created to supposedly protect us all? Again, if we're going to go by this idea that we're being protected by these guidelines, then the guidelines must be based in science. And currently, as of right now, they are not. It is not a scientific approach. It is not based upon facts. It is based upon theories that are created, and then the answer from government to making sure that you're safe and protected is to monitor your movements, your interactions, who you're talking to, how long you're spending with that person, where you've been, and where you're headed next. And that is not a system that we can stand by and allow to take root. It's also vitally important that we understand that what's happening right now in this country is an effort to combine, once again, tech companies and corporations with the power of government. Corporations that stand to make billions of dollars by forcing these products onto the public, governments that want to be able to track and monitor, and governments making corporations rich by allowing them to create a product that is forced on the population. It's happened so many times in the past, and we must stand up against it this time without question. Guys, thanks for watching. So much more coming up in the next couple of days, including an incredible investigation. We have broken some new information you're not going to get anywhere else about the origins of the coronavirus. It is shocking stuff. We'll get it to you coming up here in the next couple of days. Until then, I'll see you soon.